Major spoilers for Mafia: The Old Country ahead. A Dark Soul level challenge of 2000's open world games. Fair play. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Return to the roots, they said. Away from the Ubisoft bloat of the third Mafia installment, they said. This game was apparently made for me, so let's finally check it out. Tommy Angelo, a simple worker, gets into trouble with the Morello crime family. He is rescued by the rival Salieri gang and is introduced to his two new companions, Polly and Sam. Let's get through the infamous fair play mission. The Don's racer is not in any state to enter a very important race, so Tommy receives the responsibility to protect the boss's honor. Because who else do you entrust your reputation to than the guy you just met yesterday, right?
What else? What else? What else?
After the race, Tommy goes for a walk with Sarah and ends up protecting her health and probably more from some street thugs. We jump straight to the ordinary routine. Tommy, who is allowed to join Paulie and Sam for the first time on their route to collect protection money from local businesses, learns a little bit more about the family business. The collecting gets out of hand and ends out in a shootout. Whoa, wait. I think I just mixed up the games. I was hoping for a return to the roots, an homage to the original, and yes, a fair share of fan service. Well, I should be careful what I wish for, because my wishes could come true. So let's get the important question out of the way. Mafia: The Old Country is a perfect 7 out of 10 game. It is good, but it's not more than that. It rips mission structures from the original game and pastes them into the new setting of Sicily at the beginning of the 20th century. Which is very neat, by the way. I was afraid of the move away from America, but the Italian landscape hooked me immediately. But it's like an ex-girlfriend screaming, "Love me, love me." I am like the Mafia game you loved. Love me, approve of me. Now imagine the story of the Lord of the Rings, being the same across all 3 books, just in a different forest. Okay, that was a bad example, because that's practically what the Lord of the Rings is, but you get the idea. And that's pretty much how Mafia: The Old Country feels. But let's get to the actual game. The game breathes beautiful graphics and the fact that it's a modern game through and through. Despite the obvious aim for authenticity in the series, it feels almost sterile. There is the pointer on the screen leading you unmistakably to your next objective, and when you reach it, hooray, task completed. There's a combat system with dodging, parrying, and not parryable red attacks. You too, Mafia. And there is a progression system. I have no idea why it was added to this realism-aimed game, and the developers apparently didn't either. The only time I interacted with this magical rosary perk system was during the tutorial, and I forgot all about it afterwards, without any penalty. I popped the bad guys' heads, no biggie whatsoever, until the very end. So our main boy, Enzo, dips into the Torrisi family business and gets close with his 2 new pals, Cesare and Luca. While doing that, he's also unable to keep his tool in his pants and hits on a girl who, surprise, turns out to be the boss's daughter. They fall in love, get married, and regularly visit the dad-in-law's barbecue parties forever after. Or maybe this isn't my first game, movie, or book, and I actually can see the whole plot coming from this point on. When our boy Enzo isn't hitting on his boss's daughter and brewing a disaster, he practices his other hobby, stealthing. But I think he's still in the beginner's course or something, because his sparring partners played very nicely for him. They meet, chat for a bit, and then each one goes on his merry way to a spot where they wait, conveniently turned the other way, until they get strangled or stabbed. But silent elimination of conveniently cooperating enemies isn't all Enzo has up his sleeve. He can shoot too. So well, in fact, that he eventually single-handedly takes out the Baron and the rival boss with his whole army. And when bullets aren't enough, he can fight with knives. Oh, how he can fight with knives. Like a dozen times during the game's 10 to 15 hours, he slashes his way through small and big, weak and strong, no biggie. And he can drive. I hate the game. I'm gonna kill myself! I really do. This starts feeling personal. But to be honest, while I'm not fond of the game pulling the race card for the second fucking time, it is a refreshment from the core gameplay loop, which, let's be completely square, is quite stale. Talk with people to find where X is. Drive to a location, sneak through enemies, locate X, shoot your way out. And just before you can leave the location for good, a knife fight. But there are moments where the developers try to break out of the stereotype. The get to the sniper mission is quite a refreshment. I mean, we're probably not supposed to stop to ask ourselves why the sniper waits for you to get behind him and give him, wait for it, a knife fight. So I will play along and not ask. Then we have the copy and pasted car chase segment from the definitive edition where we have to pop the cars chasing us. One thing I have to compliment the game for is that both the length of the missions and the amount of enemies do not overstay their welcome. I usually despise the almost infinity enemy waves in similar games, but the amount of baddies butchered by our boy Enzo feels almost realistic. Well, yeah, realistic. And another stealth sequence. I'm not sure if I can take so much fun at once. So, our boy Enzo managed to get rid of the entire rival family plus his boss's boss. But he wasn't able to keep his forbidden pregnant girlfriend from telling a priest not only about their secret child, but also apparently sharing the exact time of their departure to America.
Oops, my bad.
My boy, I almost think you deserved what came to you. So let's sum it up. Am I disappointed by the game? No, by no means. It's a lot of fun. But I've already played it, seen it, or read it like 20 times. The old country plays it so safe, it might as well not play at all. There are moments in which the game feels like a remix of the first game. Some missions are a blatant copy and paste. Others are quite original and surprising. So in this regard, it's a mixed bag. I didn't like the inclusion of a rudimentary RPG perk system in a game playing on realism, but hey, I didn't engage with it after the tutorial at all, and it didn't give me a disadvantage. What did disappoint me was the near total lack of story connection to the first games. On the other hand, I do understand that the developers wanted to stand on their own legs, which is fine, but then I don't quite understand the blatant copying of the original missions. On the plus side, the story is engaging, and the characters are likable. They probably won't stay in my mind forever like Polly and Sam, but I enjoyed living in this world with them. I enjoyed interacting with them. The gameplay is nothing to write home about, but it's serviceable. Mafia the Old Country is a modern game with all its pros and diseases, like hand-holding, a rough stealth system, and boss fights. It's also a very short game. It took me 11 hours to finish, which isn't a bad thing in my book. For the first time in a long time, I can't remember a single moment in the game where I was saying to myself, wow, this part is overstaying its welcome a bit. The shootouts, the driving sections, the story, everything's dosed well enough. And since it doesn't hold the number 4 in its title, it's obviously not meant to be a full-blown new part of the franchise. Speaking of a new part, here's to hoping the game makes enough money for us to see a full Mafia 4 in the future. So, Mafia, the Old Country, you get a solid 7 out of 10 from me. And now, get out of my sight. I will see you in the next one.